This is going to be a bit of an update video. If you don't know who this man is, this is former Phoenix officer Christopher Myer. Now I'm going to take you back a little bit just in case you may have forgot. A few months ago, there was this video of this family. It was this man, a woman, and I believe it was their two children. And one of them was a little girl. And they were coming out of a store, and allegedly the story went that the girl had took a doll out of the store, and the cops were called on them. And then that's when pretty much the nightmare happened for this family. Like, they pretty much got terrorized right in front of that store by these cops. But this cop right here in particular used excessive force because he actually had the mother in handcuffs and also the father as well, and threatened to shoot them. Now, I can't remember whether or not the woman was pregnant with another child. I can't remember exactly what it was. I'm sure someone down in the comment section will correct me if I'm wrong. But it was a lot going on there. And then you had the police chief, and she was just so... Many of us were just over her incompetence. Like, you can tell she was trying to give cover for this guy, but she was doing a very sloppy job of it. Well, the latest update has come forward, and this guy, Christopher Myer, has recently been fired by the Phoenix Police Department. Now, you got to think, this happened back in, like, maybe in the first quarter of the year, maybe the second. So that was a while ago, and they're just now firing him. I have the biggest feeling that if this was a melanated cop who did anything like this, he would have been fired immediately. Like, did they keep Muhammad Noor around as long when he did what he did? Those two cops that killed Jeremy Martis by mistake, they were fired immediately. As a matter of fact, they had them mugshots up by the end of the week. But with him, they handled it with kid gloves. They're just now firing. And I have the feeling that the reason they fired him is because of the backlash from the people. If this particular incident did not get recorded and put out there for national consumption, they would have kept it under wraps and he would have still probably had his job. So basically, they allowed this man to continue to collect a paycheck for months on end until now. The article reads, Phoenix Police Chief Jerry Williams has fired the officer involved in a viral cell phone video depicting him threatening to shoot a family. The video, recorded by a bystander on May 27th, shows Phoenix officer Christopher Myer pointing a gun at a car occupied Drayvon Ames, his pregnant fiance. Some told me she was pregnant, Aisha Harper, and their children. It's crazy. This happened back in May. I swear it felt like it happened earlier than that. In the video, Myer can be heard yelling, "You're gonna get fucking shot," when Ames didn't immediately open his vehicle door. The officer also told Ames, "I'm gonna put a cap in your ass." And I think it was that part right there that really set a lot of people off. A second officer, who police did not identify, received a written reprimand. Williams described the officer's actions as trying to de-escalate the situation. The announcement of Myers' firing during a Tuesday news conference came at the same time Phoenix police announced the firing of Clinton Davis Swick following an unrelated investigation into his Facebook post. The Plainview Project, launched by Philadelphia lawyer Emily Baker White, created a database of public Facebook posts and comments made by current and former police officers from several jurisdictions across the United States, including Phoenix. The post endorsed violence in some cases against Mexicans, Muslims, women, and criminal defendants. Earlier Tuesday, Phoenix police also announced it had fired Sergeant Daniel B. Jones in a separate, unrelated internal affairs investigation. So what did we just learn so far? That 3 cops from within that department, all unrelated to each other, were all fired. And they all seem to be linked back to something racial. And remember, I kept saying how Facebook will delete any kind of post that, like, maybe something I put up and say that it was too extreme, even threaten to shut down the page. But these individuals like him and others can be a part of these little groups that spout hatred amongst other people that are considered non-white. It says, no chief ever wants to discuss discipline like this in a public format. Williams said. I expect my officers to be respectful, to be professional, to be courteous, and that is not what happened in these cases. The officers have the right to appeal the decision. Suspension is not just sufficient. Williams said the police department's disciplinary review board recommended Myers receive a 240-hour unpaid suspension for his actions in the police stop, but she said that wasn't enough. Ultimately, the police chief decides what kind of punishment an officer receives if investigators find wrongdoing. I have notified him of my intention to terminate his employment, Williams said. A 240-hour suspension is just not sufficient to reverse the adverse effects of his actions on our department and our community. Williams said she didn't come to the decision lightly. Myer has been with the department since 1995. I will say this, it was difficult for both of us, for me to make the decision and for him to take the call. For the second officer involved in the stop, Williams said the disciplinary board recommended he receive a written reprimand, and Williams agreed. Tom Horn, who was representing Ames and Harper, had filed a $10 million claim against Phoenix. This is partial justice for my clients. To get full justice, the job is now mine to get it for them with compensation in the lawsuit. Horn, a former Arizona Attorney General, said he has always been a supporter of police, but he said it's important that those who are tarnishing the profession be held accountable. I think the vast majority of police are fine public servants in any group, whether it's lawyers, journalists, or anybody else. You get some bad apples, and it's my job to be sure that justice is done when we do get these bad apples. Ames said he also welcomed the decision, saying he hopes to send a message to officers not to treat others the way Myer treated him and his family. He said the incident has left his family traumatized. It's been real bad. It's hard to get over that type of stuff. It was very tragic and traumatizing moment. So to know that he's been fired is some type of relief, but there's still a lot to work on. Now you have to make sure that he's actually fired, because we know that they don't get fired. They just simply get transferred. He could end up at another department in another county somewhere and do the same thing again, or feel vengeful and come back and finish what he feels he started. The Phoenix Law Enforcement Association, the Phoenix Police Union that represents the department's rank and file, posted on Facebook that it doesn't agree with Williams' decision to fire Myer and Swick. I'm very sure it doesn't. PLEA has a complete understanding of the position Chief Jerry Williams is in as the leader of the Phoenix Police Department and as an appointed employee of the city. The statement said, PLEA is dedicated to its members, and we ensure that we carry our members' interests through until the end of all the processes that encompass employment with the city of Phoenix. Taureanreign Action, a Maryville-based advocacy group that has been critical of the Phoenix police use of force, applauded Williams' decision to fire Myer. Community made this happen. Without the pressure and bystander video, Christopher Myer would still be on our streets. That's basically what I just said. If he has the audacity to appeal the Civil Service Board for his job, we got to make sure he doesn't get rehired. Every officer who has been terminated has the right to appeal. Phoenix police have explained the process. When claims of wrongdoing are made, the department's Professional Standards Bureau investigates. If the Bureau finds there was employee misconduct, investigators can refer to the case to the Disciplinary Review Board, which is chaired by one of the department's assistant police chiefs and has 6 additional members, including 2 peer officers, 2 civilians, and 2 police commanders. After reviewing the case, the board will have a disciplinary recommendation to the police chief, who also reviews the case and ultimately decides what type of punishment the employee will receive. The employee has the right to appeal to the city 5-member civil service board, which will sustain the punishment or reduce the punishment. In the case of the employee being fired, this board can give him or her their job back. And I have a feeling that he's definitely going to try to appeal this to get his job back, but we shall see what happens. But it was very interesting. That person said that it was the pressure from the community and also from that video. Like I said, if that video did not go out there, then he would probably still be working, most likely. As a matter of fact, not probably, he would still be working, because they wouldn't have no evidence and proof that he did what he did or said what he said. It would have been their words against his, and we already know they're going to take his word. But now they say he can appeal it and possibly get his job back. I won't be surprised if he goes along with that decision, and I won't be surprised if they say to do it. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this down in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one.